of it. You're making the drug we're addicted to the boogeyman. Where it's like, bro, they're holding hands now. You know what I mean? Very rarely have I ever seen a sober person say, call the coke dealer. It's happened, sure. Very rarely does a sober person say, call the coke dealer. Normally it's you're on one or two other substances, you're out of town for the weekend, and it's like, dude, the wife will never know. You know, dude, call the valet and see if you can get us a little blow, right? And like, that's normally what happens. They go hand in hand. They do. They can anyway. And if I were going to be a sober person, and honestly, I don't feel as if I'm necessarily like severely addicted to anything. Marijuana has addictive properties in it, and I definitely see some addiction in my life with it. Is it impairing my overall life? No. If I had a different job, it could be. If I'm just going to keep it real with you, it honestly could be. But no. But if I were a sober person, I think I would have to kind of stay away from it all. Because once I start, because that would trick my mind. Oh, I can do that? And I'm okay? Like, as I have been able in my life, I have a respect of hard drugs. And by respect, I mean fear. And so I've done a lot of them. Most of them I have done. And I always went into it knowing like, bro, this can go to an ugly place. Be careful here. Now, you can tell yourself that all you want, and it'll still grab. I tell people all the time, you think people die from drugs because the drugs suck? Maybe people die from drugs because they're kick ass. Like, that's why they die. It's because they're chasing that first couple of times they tried it when it was amazing. And it convinces you you can get that again. Just keep going down this rabbit hole. You'll get it. It's the next one. Nah, sorry, we lied about that one. It's the next one. It'll get you there. Trust me, do a little bit more. Yeah, maybe go past a teener this time and see what happens. And then next thing you know, you're down in that rabbit hole. And it's over. It's over. It happened real fast, man. I've seen drugs take people down real fast. Straight-laced people, next thing you know, try a little bit of this one time away from the wife, I'm gonna try this. Next thing you know, they're full on hook. Drugs can get the teeth in you fast. And I mean fast. And like, you gotta be careful because like birds of a feather flock together. So if you've got a friend who's doing drugs, they're gonna want you to do drugs. That way you don't say to them, dude, it's 11 o'clock in the morning, right? Like there's that thing. So again, I'm not a counselor. I don't have the degree. I'm not a doctor. I'm not this. I'm not that. I will tell you, I worry that if you're trying to stay sober, that doing any one of those other things, I worry for you that eventually what's going to happen is you will go back to the other thing you want the most. And again, I don't think we have to take my word for it. I literally read you a statement from somebody who listens to the show every day, who is viewing it that way for their sobriety. Thanks again, man. When you didn't message in for the show for a while, I was legitimately worried about you. And then when I heard it was because you went to rehab, that made me very happy, man. And I'm happy to hear it's going well for you, man. So keep your head up. Keep working on that, man. Everything will be all right. We had been talking about Jelly Roll, who says weed has kept him sober. He no longer snorts coke, drinks codeine, and uses the other substances that he had been on. He feels like weed helps keep his anxiety under control. Well, I'm sure it's called self-medicating. And, you know, he relies on the weed to keep him off the other drugs. That's called transference. And that's what he's doing. And look, here's the thing. If it's keeping you off the other drugs, it's hard to hate it. It is. It's hard to hate it. I worry eventually it's going to drive you back to it. Now, the problem with coming off of addictive substances is what? Relapses are part of recovery. They just are. I think the number, this is an old number. I worked with somebody who quit heroin. A lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about. The number they gave that person then was 8% of people who try to stay sober make it. I hate even saying that because I worry it makes people go, oh my God, if that's it, then why try? But the point is, it's really hard, man. There was a movie, Michael Clayton, I think is what it was, where in there they say being sober is like being strapped to a bomb. Sooner or later it's going. Not everybody relapses, but they're very common. So what the point to say all of it is this, is that if this should happen for Jelly Roll or anybody else who's like using weed to stay off the other thing, what people are going to say is it's not marijuana's fault. Relapses are part of recovery. And you may be right on any one given instance, right? And we had been talking about that a little. It's not surprising, but it's noticeable how many of you have written in and said, I gave up drinking. I wasn't addicted, you know what I mean? It was just, I just wanted to maybe stop doing it, and like the benefits you're seeing in your life from it. Somebody says here, like, I have, my new system is I only drink in like a party type environment. Instead of like 2 glasses of wine with dinner, or maybe a couple of beers to unwind after work or whatever, I don't do that anymore. I only drink in like a social setting like that. And this person, and I believe them to have a good understanding of who they are as a person, as I know this person, has said, look, I'm not an addict or anything. It just, it started to be less fun drinking, just, you know, to have a couple of drinks after work or whatever. I can understand that. I've told you, I have the same, I moved into my house a year ago. I bought 2 cases of beer. Well, that weekend I moved in, I had some people over, this and that. The beer that's left over from that is still in my fridge. I'm not the kind of guy who goes home and drinks beer. I love watching sports. If I watch sports on my couch, I'm probably not gonna have a beer. Occasionally, not routine. If I feel like having a beer while I watch sports, I go somewhere. It feels different to me. All right, go to the bar, watch it, and do that kind of thing, right? So I'm not that guy. So the point I'm driving to is I've never understood the 2-drink person. I don't get it. Alcohol, to me, I don't like any alcohol enough to be like, oh, I'm just drinking this because I like it. It's like some things I like more than others. Yeah, I don't know if I like anything enough to be like, I'm just going to casually have this. I'm looking for the effects. Like some guys are like big whiskey guys, right? That's their whole thing. I could never be the whiskey guy. I don't like the taste of it anymore. To me, I always say this, I don't drink whiskey because I like whiskey. I drink whiskey because I hate my life, right? And like, that's why I do it, right? That could, like, the whiskey thing could never be my identity. Some of it I like better than some others, and I like this better than sour mash or whatever, but like, none of them do I think, oh my God, I love this. It's just not my thing, right? I like the effects of alcohol more than I like the taste of it. So I've never really understood the 2 beer, right? Like, I gotta, like, let's have a couple of more of these smooth out. I don't gotta be blacked out hammered, but I want to feel the effects of alcohol coursing through, right? Like, I that's, for me and boots, that's just how I, Doug has written in and says, hey man, I love the fact that you're talking about this. I'm getting close to 2 years clean and sober off of everything. The only 2 things I had never touched while I was using were heroin and meth. Good for you. Those were good places to stop. He said, I tried smoking weed again, and it just made me want to go back to doing psychedelics and cocaine. Trading one substance for another is just like changing seats on the Titanic. You might be in first class, but the ship is still sinking. Yeah, I can understand that theory. I've heard that theory before, too. Again, there's a term for it. I've used it a couple of times this morning. It's called transference. And, like, that's what people are doing. My thing is I think weed can be a problem for people without it necessarily being as full-blown destructive as some other drugs. And so if it's keeping you off of those and that's what you believe, it's hard. That's tough, right? Again, I don't have a degree in this. I'm not a doctor. I just, I'm reasonably intelligent and have really sampled every drug there is. Like I've done that, but that does not necessarily make me an expert in this. This was written in by a guy named John, and this I have had happen in my life. John says, my girl quit smoking cigarettes. Now she's smoking weed as her crutch. And I wrote right back to him. I said, John, this is exactly what I did. I gave up smoking. I was living in Oregon when I quit smoking cigarettes, and marijuana wasn't recreational, wasn't legal there, but it was legal, right? Especially where I lived in the southern part of the state. Everybody was just like, do whatever you want. That's why we live here. Do what you want, right? And so marijuana was falling off trees then. I definitely increased the amount of weed I smoked when I gave up smoking cigarettes. What I can tell you, and I don't know if this would be true of everybody, and my guess is that it would not be, that I had, for the longest time, kept that level of marijuana smoking that was more than I would have when I was smoking cigarettes for a very long period of time. It's been almost 11 years since I've had a cigarette, or over 11 years rather, since I've had a cigarette. And then it dropped off, but my new level of usage of said product is definitely higher than it was while I was a cigarette smoker too. Essentially what I'm saying is I find myself probably still having nicotine cravings. I don't think I have them because I'm like, all right, I'm at home in the middle of the afternoon. I'm watching Better Call Saul. There's no reason not to smoke this joint right now. And so for nicotine or maybe whatever the thing is by another substance. I don't know this to be true and I don't want to find out, but I'm willing to bet this is true for me, that if I left work today and I bought a carton of cigarettes, that I would smoke less marijuana all week long as I was finding another avenue for that. I need to do something with my hands. You know what I mean? Like there's something about that if I went back to cigarettes, would I get off of marijuana because I'm smoking cigarettes? The answer there is no. I don't believe I would do that. Would I smoke a lot less marijuana than I currently do, if I picked up cigarettes again? Yeah, there's no denying that would happen. Welcome back to the Stansbury Show. Yesterday happened to be National Burger Day, and I didn't really notice this until the end of the program. So I asked you guys, I was like, who's got the best burger in the area, right? And I am delighted to see as many responses supporting a local place as I am. I love that, right? Chains are great too. We'll talk plenty about both here in a second. But I remember during COVID, everybody's like, dude, I just want to leave the house. I want to leave the house. I want to leave the house. And I asked people online, where are you looking forward to eating? And 99% of the responses were chains. And I was like, we just talked about how important it is for local business to withstand all of this. And you guys are excited to leave the house. And now so you want to go here, right? So I expected more chain responses than I got yesterday. I'm encouraged by this, right? I do see one of these comments here from Jason, who mentions this is a chain. He mentions the Max the Knife Burger at Rockneys. And I would say that's a burger people used to talk about all the time. You don't hear about it as much anymore. And I feel like it is on the underrated side of the burger conversation. I feel like our Rockneys here up near the Strip is actually pretty good. I will have lunch there, occasionally. And I do like the Max the Knife Burger. That's a very, very good burger. I like that one. Jason says, give me Duber McDonald's. The McDonald's on Duber there. I used to live not far from that, and I got to be honest with you, it is a pretty good McDonald's. That's not necessarily a terrible choice. I don't think that's where people are going to be like, that's where you get the best burger. Jake was shocked more people aren't saying Swenson's. I like Swenson's. Their fans are passionate about it. I really like Swenson's. I think the Galley Boy's a great burger. I'm not sure I like it as much as like their diehards like it, but I do enjoy that a lot. This debate can get a little heated here locally. What's better, Skyway or Swenson's? I don't know if I can decide who's better for you, but Skyway's a little underrated in that conversation because people just talk about Swenson's like it had cured cancer, right? Obviously, you start talking burgers in Canton, what's one of the first names that comes up? George's Lounge, right? Famous for their burgers, famous for their burger nights, as you get a pretty good rate on that. I believe that was Mondays. It must have been Wednesdays. I'm having to pull from memory there because I got to be honest with you. It's been a little while since I've been to George's. No reason. It's not like I'm like, screw them, they suck now. Like, that's not it at all. It's just when I lived walking distance from it, I found myself going there way more often, right? Of course. But I would admit that is a very, very good burger option downtown, George's Burger. I'm going to give you another one right downtown there. Client of the radio station? Yes, of course. But the 19th hole has got a really good smash burger. If you like the California burger with that burger sauce, like kind of like a Big Mac sauce, like that kind of thing, like In-N-Out kind of has that animal style, that thing. If you're into that kind of like burger sauce for your burger, the smash burger at 19th hole is hard to beat. Very good. Plus, dude, while you're in there, you can play a little indoor golf. That's got Stansbury written all over it, dude. Good cheeseburgers and indoor golf. I love that, right? So I'd give you that one. My buddy Zach, business owner here in Canton, says, dude, George's is good. Like, don't sleep on Bender's and Massillon. He's like, they got a really good burger there now. He's like, and I was like, look, it's underrated. I know the proprietors of said business. I am friendly with them. I enjoy their restaurants. I have been in there many times, and I would agree that the burgers at Bender's in Massillon is a little underrated. People don't talk about that enough. That is a very good burger option. Heggy's, I'm told, has got a pretty decent burger. I've been there for plenty of things. I've never had that there. Jessica St. Taggart's. Don't miss out on Taggart's burger. She says everything there is good. I can tell you I've enjoyed everything I've ever had at Taggart's. I like it. And again, I have family coming in this, and that will be on the list. You know what I mean? You have to take them to hit all the Canton spots. That I would have to, I'll need to try that burger there, Jessica, that I've never had. Scott's going dark horse. He says, let me enter this dark horse into your race, Stansbury. But Bugsy's on Hills and Dales has great burgers, some of the best around. Well, I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure I've even ever been in that establishment or have had anything from it. So I'll pencil that down. I'll get that down on my list. I'll have to try that. I've never had it. Polino's does burgers on Wednesday in the summer. They're really good, Stacy says. And she also says here in her comment, every time we say, hey, let's go someplace different, think outside the box. They placed third, at the 2017 National. I don't think I've ever been. Not that I know Joe. Like I said, I love a good hot dog. I love a good artisan dog. I want more of them here next on the Stansbury Show.